Listen, as a black people, if there's one thing we can all unite around the globe, it's because of this man, you understand? And he needs to be protected, all costs, spiritually, physically, mentally. He needs to be protected by every single one of us. They already tried to take his life 19 times, yeah? And it's clearly going up. So I suggest you start praying for this man.
The same thing with the European Union. Don't say, what are we going to ask from you? That's a big brother mentality. What are you going to ask from us? NATO is not a very peaceful organization. You can't talk peace and NATO in one sentence. It's not true what you are saying. Because what peace did NATO take to Libya? Look at what you did to Libya to date. Because you're going after one man, you destroy the whole country.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you are watching me from. Now, sad news in Africa is that the Western powers want to eliminate Ibrahim Traore, but they are in for a very rude shock because the whole of the African continent and those Pan-Africanists are now standing with Ibrahim Traore. Now, Julius Malema has come out to offer his support and he's joining Ibrahim Traore in these tough times to unite Africa. So let's watch this video, then have a really quick discussion at the end of it. Thank you so much.
All French soldiers and military must leave the African continent, and this also should apply to neo-colonial military bases, including the African Command Center of the USA. We don't want the army of America. We don't want the army of France here. We don't want the army of anyone. We want African army on African soil. The Pan-Africanist Institute should therefore provide ideological, political, and technical weapons to all progressive forces of the African continent to fight against colonialism.
The EFF leader then said Africa needs one standing army to fight the wars sponsored by countries seeking to distract us with fighting so they can plunder our resources, before touching on greedy African dictators and the need to unite the continent against neocolonialism and exploitation.
We need African Central Bank. We need African Monetary Zone. We need African military combat, because these pockets of wars that are happening in Africa are not of our own making. They are sponsored wars so that those who continue to steal our resources can do so uninterrupted as we fight amongst ourselves. So we need a military, a common defense system, the African High Command that will ensure the stability and security of Africa. We equally need a binding African court to deal with dictators who only exist in Africa to feed their friends and families. Those people must be prosecuted the African way. Sekou Toure and Emperor Haile Selassie prophetically said that the failure to unite the African continent will give rise to the neo-colonialism, and that African continent will perish. The revolutionary Pan-Africanist ideological and political diagnosis of the future was correct. The future is here. 50 years later, we know that we remain visitors in our own continent. We know that our resources benefit Euro-American than our own people. This is despite most African countries gaining independence from colonial rule since 1957. Massive, huge tracts of land, our mineral resources, our animals, our oceans are still owned and controlled by the colonial masters. There are no countries in the entire African continent that have gained full economic emancipation and independence. And this includes Ghana, which was the first to lead the road till to date. It can't claim that Africans in Ghana own the means of production. In 2016 report titled The New Colonialism reveals that there are 101 British companies listed on the London Stock Exchange that control an identified 1.5 trillion US dollars worth of resources in Africa in just 5 commodities: oil, gold, diamond, coal, and platinum. This is a very conservative figure since it includes resources listed by only some companies. Many companies do not provide the figures of the resources they control. And majority of these companies that do not tell us what they control and what they own in Africa are found in DRC, because they are the ones who fuel the divisions in DRC. They are the ones who fuel the fight in DRC, and they are stealing the resources of DRC because they know there is no proper accountability for such resources. The War on Want report on neocolonialism further illustrates that the fact that these 101 companies control and own the following key resources on our continent: 6.6 billion barrels of oil, currently worth 276 billion US dollars. They control 79.5 million ounces of gold, worth 119 billion US dollars. They control 699.3 million carats of diamonds, worth 134 billion of US dollars. 3.6 billion tons of coal, worth 216 billion US dollars. 287 million ounces of platinum, worth 305 billion US dollars. These are the numbers that reflect British neocolonialism in the African continent. I've not spoken about what French companies are doing. The Portuguese continue to play a significant role in the economy of Mozambique and Angola. The French continue to micromanage all the countries that were their colonies, except the recent liberated zones of Mali and Burkina Faso. Our leaders like their colonizers more than us. That's why they always seek after anything that looks like colonizers.
Don't say, what are we going to ask from you? That's a big brother mentality. What are you going to ask from us? Yes, don't say, why should it be us who are asking? We're not asking for anything. We're fine. So let's relate as equals, not as a beggar and the big brother supplier. No, we will relate with the European Union. It's a necessary body. We'll relate with it, we'll respect it, and the respect must be mutual, and will engage on what is in the interest of our countries, not what is in the interest of the European Union. We're in a mess now. We've decommissioned our power stations because countries like the USA, like the UK have said to us, no, do away with these things. We are going to introduce green energy. Here's the money and all of that. People took the money. There is no electricity today. So we ought to relate as equals so that no one imposes their ideas on us. We are people that subscribe to superior logic. Anything that is scientific, anything that has been proven, anything that makes sense, we'll agree with it. It doesn't matter whether it comes from European Union or it comes from BRICS or it comes from China or Russia. No, we will not agree with anything that seeks to belittle us and make us look like we are beggars in this kind of a relationship. So that's the same with AGOA. You can't use AGOA to threaten us in terms of our sovereignty and our foreign policy. That if you are going to bring Putin here and not defy, will do away with AGOA. You can do away with AGOA. We remain with our sovereignty. Should you strip us of our dignity because we are desperately looking for AGOA? That our foreign policy is now determined somewhere else. Which nation can be proud of that? That our foreign policy is determined somewhere because we are beneficiaries of AGOA. It can't be correct. Let's trade and have those benefits of AGOA out of mutual understanding and respect for each other's sovereignty and foreign policy. Not that today, because we don't agree on Putin, you must withdraw the whole thing. That is puppeting, that is belittling, that is making us look like we are beggars. But let's remain with our dignity. Let's be beggars with dignity, not stripped of dignity and thinking that you are what you are not. You can't even make your own foreign policy determinations because AGOA will be taken away. We are spreading the wings of the EFF. We have EFF in Liberia, we have EFF in Lesotho, we have EFF in Namibia, we have EFF in Zimbabwe. We are a young organization in terms of age, but already we are finding an expression in other African countries because we are trying to take this spirit into other African countries. We need to strengthen AU, give it more teeth to bite. The decisions of the AU must be taken and they must be firmly implemented by countries of Africa if we are going to say this is a serious continental body. Business has no choice. We are the only organization that is very clear of what we want. And therefore, business in dealing with the EFF, they know what they are dealing with. Policy position is very clear. And we were happy with the response yesterday. It was overwhelming. We really enjoyed ourselves. And the kind of support we received from the South African business yesterday was really welcomed. Black, white, Indians, Africans, coloreds, all manner of business, men and women were there to support the EFF. And that's what made the rally possible tomorrow, because of the support of these business people who are not scared of the establishment. Ukraine peaceful solution is that Ukraine must not join NATO. That's the solution. So that we protect the territory. I mean, Russia doesn't feel threatened. It's as simple as that. And I sympathize with you, and I like the fact that you like dialogue, and I like dialogue. We can engage about that because NATO is not a very peaceful organization. You can't talk peace and NATO in one sentence. It's not true what you are saying, because what peace did NATO take to Libya? Look at what you did to Libya to date. Because you are going after one man, you destroy the whole country. So if it brought peace in Norway, it has not brought peace in Africa. And our experience with NATO is not what you have experienced. And therefore, we respectfully disagree with that. I agree with you that elections are coming and South Africa must play an important role. There's a problem in Zimbabwe. There's a big problem in Zimbabwe where the rights of citizens are being violated openly and no one is saying anything about it, including South Africa. Elections get stolen daylight by the army. For sure they have the results by now. Me and you are still talking about elections. They are done. They have the results. Those things, that's a formality. Well, it can't be correct that ZANU-PF holds the people of Zimbabwe hostage. If it means ZANU-PF must lose elections for it to go and self-correct, so be it. But let the people, the voice of the people of Zimbabwe be respected. It can't be a win-win-win at all costs. In the EFF, we believe strongly that Chamisa won the last elections. And it was undermined by violence that was unleashed on citizens of Zimbabwe. But is the sanctions solution? No. No. The Zimbabweans are suffering as we speak. You know how you negotiate the best terms as business and as countries. Zimbabwe should be open to you to go and invest there, but negotiate the best deals and conditions of such investment. No sanctions must stop you from going to invest in Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans are struggling, and the world must go and help Zimbabweans. You know, this thing of territorial threats, we know them here. We've got an army base here in Botswana. What is America doing here in Botswana? Why is Africa not in American borders? What do you call that? And you come and say imperialism and colonialism is finished. When people expand their territorial expansion through putting military bases at our borders. There's a military base here. A study has been conducted that a fighter jet that moves from that army base to the Union building will not take less than 2 minutes to bomb the Union building. If a war is declared with America, America does not have to assemble any resource from Washington or anywhere else to come here. They are already here. What do you call that? It's democracy. It's free world. We must celebrate that and say, no, imperialism is no longer there. It's in our head. We understand what Putin is fighting against because we have it here. Here. What is it doing here? We never went to Asia. We never went to Europe. We never went to America. We are here. We don't establish bases anywhere. Why should you establish bases in military bases in our continent? And when we speak, it's called old-fashioned politics. That they are out of fashion. There's no such a thing as imperialism. When imperialism is breathing on our neck, we're not going to allow that. We are going to expose that American military base here all the time in the platforms we get and educate our people that this is exactly what Putin is fighting against. America will not allow that. That Russia must go and establish a military base in Cuba with missiles facing the USA. They won't allow that. So we must not be allowed, we must not be asked to accept the things that you will not accept if they were to happen in your countries. And that's what we're talking about when we speak about NATO and peace not going together. So, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't mean enmity. We're not enemies. We engage robustly. Our policies can be challenged the same way we challenge your policies. We are open for engagement. South Africa is open for investment in our own terms. We know what multinational companies have done to our economy, coming to milk our resources, leaving us dry. The case in point is a place called Marikana. Just go and see what the London mine did there and what Sibanye is doing there. To date, with a huge operation of a mine just next to it, there is no water, there's no tar road, there's no electricity, there are no houses, no proper schools. People are squashed in one place. Yet, a stone thrown away, there is a mine. We can
that there will never be total liberation of people if women are not liberated themselves. Sankara, who knew that a political activist must be equipped with theory of politics, because a soldier with a gun without political theory is a potential criminal. That's why political education is always important. Those who seek good for us did not stay long.
Down to imperialism, down. Down to imperialism, down. We say no to chains, no to crowns. Down to imperialism, down. Down all traitors, no more lies, no more clowns. Down all traitors, down. With our voice, we shake the ground. We are here, we won't go. With Captain Traoré, let it show. Strong and proud, we rise and say, our hearts, our fists, we're here to stay. Down to imperialism, down. Down all traitors, down. We are here, we won't go. Mike Traoré, let it show. Traoré, solidarity, we stand free. Great. And this is the story the world won't show you. Across
Born
the
in
heart of
1988,
Africa, a storm is rising.
Ibrahim Traore
Not
is
of
not
chaos,
your typical leader,
but of consciousness.
At just 34 years old,
in the land
he
of
rose
Burkina
through the
Faso,
military ranks
the people
with
have
sharp
spoken,
intelligence and
loud,
unwavering patriotism.
and united.
In a country plagued by insecurity,
After a failed
corruption,
coup attempt
and
against
foreign
Captain
interference,
Ibrahim
Traoré emerged as a new
millions
kind
took
of
to the
leader.
streets, not
Young,
in fear,
fearless,
but in fierce
and
loyalty.
unapologetically African.
Today we witness a movement
When he
that is
assumed
bigger
power in
than
September
one man.
2022,
It's the awakening
many
of a
doubted him.
continent. But instead
This
of
is
bowing
make
to
Africa,
pressure, he chose to challenge the status quo. He questioned the role of foreign troops on African soil. He sought to restore control over Burkina Faso's resources. And most importantly, he spoke directly to the people, not at them, but with them. To his supporters, he became more than a military man. He became a symbol of resistance, of freedom, and of a future Africa controlled by Africans. On a tense morning in early April 2025, reports flooded in. An attempted coup had shaken Burkina Faso's capital, Ouagadougou. But it wasn't the people who wanted change. It was a small group with foreign backing, trying to unseat the will of the nation. They underestimated something. They underestimated the power of the people. Within hours, thousands filled the streets chanting, waving flags, and calling out the names of their heroes. Among them, Captain Traoré stood firm, calm, ready. And above all, present with his people. This was not just about power. It was about sovereignty. A message was being sent. Burkina Faso would not be another puppet state. The era of outside control was over. The scenes were breathtaking. From the dusty roads of Ouagadougou to the far corners of the countryside, people came out in waves. Men, women, children, young and old, all chanting one message. We are with Captain Traoré. They wore flags as cloaks. They held signs that read, Africa for Africans, and they danced not out of joy, but out of purpose. This was more than just political support. It was a spiritual awakening. It was the cry of a people tired of broken promises, tired of being silenced, tired of their destiny being written from foreign capitals. Burkina Faso's heartbeat was loud and clear. We stand with our leader. We choose our path, and we choose freedom. The response wasn't limited to Burkina Faso. Across the continent and in the diaspora, African giants rose to speak out. Julius Malema, the fearless South African voice, declared, Captain Traoré is not just Burkina Faso's leader. He is the reflection of Africa's rising spirit. We will not let him fall. Professor PLO Lumumba, the Kenyan scholar and speaker, said, The youth of Africa have found their voice in Traoré. Let no empire stand in their way. Dr. Arikana Chihombori Kwao, the former AU ambassador to the US, reminded us, this is exactly why Gaddafi was feared, because he united Africa. And now they fear Traoré too. And Joshua Maponga, the ever-passionate preacher and thinker, didn't hold back. Africa is not poor. Africa is being robbed. And men like Traoré are disrupting the theft. These voices became the megaphone for millions, not voices of violence, but voices of awakening. Just days after the failed coup, a US general made headlines, accusing Traoré of using Burkina Faso's gold reserves to protect himself. A bold claim, with no evidence. A calculated attempt to shift the narrative. But it backfired. Africans weren't fooled. Social media exploded with rage. From Ghana to Kenya, from South Africa to the Caribbean, people called out the double standard. Where were the accusations when foreign corporations took Africa?
Hello brothers and sisters, I really hope you're all doing fine from wherever you are watching me from. Now, it is so sad to see that the Western countries are coming after the life of Ibrahim Traore. In fact, for the last few days, Ibrahim Traore has been having a rough time because they're trying to use his inner circle to assassinate him. Now, after all these attempts are failing, now they're trying to use the leader of AFRICOM, who is a black person who has been consistently talking about Ibrahim Traore in security meetings in the US. Now, they have been calling him a dictator. They have paid black people in France to stage demonstrations, and they take the videos, they take and post them on social media, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, on X, everywhere. And they're trying to show the world that black people are against whatever Ibrahim Traore is doing, right? Who is against a united Africa, right? Because they're trying to say that we are against a united Africa. We are against chasing the colonizers from Africa. We are against bringing back the diaspora, because these are the things Ibrahim Traore has been talking about and he has been doing. He has been uniting Africa. He has been talking about the unity of the youth of Africa. He has been talking about the coming back of the diaspora back to Africa. We want to build an African continent where we are one and we have a single currency. This is the biggest fear these people have. When we get united and when we have one currency, they are going to fall back, right? They are going to fall really bad. And they can't wait to see Ibrahim Traore out of their way, because they have seen him as a threat, as a potential threat. And they want to do the Muammar Gaddafi thing. You know, whatever they did to Muammar Gaddafi, put a lot of charges on his name, say he's a terrorist or he has been funding terrorism, he has been raping children, or all those stuff, you know. They try to actually tarnish your name so that the people may turn their backs on you. And after they have done that, they will successfully eliminate you. And they will celebrate your news of elimination or assassination. That's whatever they happened to Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi was responsible for the Ugandan stability they have right now. Uganda was a country that was fighting left, right, and center. No peace, a lot of coup d'etats. But it is Muammar Gaddafi who came and helped Uganda stabilize. He came with a lot of funds and he funded some projects in Uganda. It's crazy. And he's a president of another country. Very rare to see that. He made sure that Libya has been liberated. So when they're trying to paint one of our own in a bad way, then we have leaders like Julius Malema who are now coming out to support Ibrahim Traore. This is so shocking to them because the African continent has stood with Ibrahim Traore. Millions and millions of people in Africa are now talking about Ibrahim Traore. And if they can try to eliminate that man, it will be total chaos in Africa. It will be total chaos. They'll wonder, they'll regret it, because Ibrahim Traore is the adorable king that Africa has right now. You talk of a leader, he has all the qualifications, he has all the quality of being a good leader. What has this man not done to his people? What has this man not done to Africa at his young age? This man has been talking about the truth. This man has been going around and changing Burkina Faso. Now, you wonder why countries like Burkina Faso are still poor. And while they have mineral resources, you wonder why a country like Congo, when we had a great leader in Congo called Patrice Lumumba, who was talking about uniting Congo with the rest of Africa and making sure that the mineral resources in Congo are used and processed in Africa. What happened to him? They turned him around the backs of the people. Then what did they do to him? They eliminated him. Same to Thomas Sankara. Same to Muammar Gaddafi. Do we still want to see a falling Africa? Africa is the richest continent in the world. No doubt about that. This is the chosen continent. This is the chosen motherland for all human beings. It is the cradle of human beings. We are now saying enough is enough. I'm very grateful Julius Malema has given out a statement that they are going to stand with Burkina Faso, that they are not going to let one of the greatest leader in Africa right now to be taken down. They can use whoever they want to use. That's whatever they have been doing all this time. But we are saying, Michael Langley, out of your consciousness, do not accept to be used as a bait to eliminate the greatness of Africa. Africa has suffered a lot, and it continues suffering in the hands of the colonizers. Africa has come a long way. We've had great leaders in Africa, while in an era where we've had so many puppets. So puppetism has taken its way in Africa, that people are sent to power by the use of the Western countries, by the help of the Western countries. Then what do in after? They take a lot of loans, they enslave us, right? They allow the same colonizer who our late grandparents really fought so hard. Some of them died in the battlefields. Then their grandchildren are going ahead to take loans, are going ahead bowing before Donald Trump, bowing before people like Emmanuel Macron, bowing before the King of England. Where did we go wrong? Actually, where did we go wrong? We must talk the truth. It is the truth that is going to save us. We are not going just to sit here and watch things happen in a bad way. We must sit down and see the next thing. We are not going to actually worship their media and trust whatever they say. We know whatever has been done. We know whatever Julius Malema has been talking about. We know whatever people like Dr. Arikana has been talking about. We know people like Professor Pilo Lumumba have been talking about the truth. And we've seen the president, the female president of Namibia, has been talking about the unity of Africa. So will they kill all these other people? Are they going to eliminate them for talking the truth? Come on. We are not going to bow down to them anymore. Africa is now awake. We have the internet. We know whatever is happening, right? And we can share the good news of our leaders. We've been sharing the good news of Ibrahim Traore. This man is so exceptional. He has been doing things in a very exemplary way. So when they're coming out with their lies and trying to paint him in a bad way, we are going to stand by the motherland, and we are not going to bow, or we are not going to accept any of the things they are going to tell us. Africa needs a renaissance, and the renaissance is here with us. Ibrahim Traore is bringing that to our doorsteps. We are not going to sit down and let them eliminate one of our own. I'm very appreciative for South Africa. South Africa has always had some good leaders who have stood for this continent. Julius Malema is doing that for us. We need voices. We need voices, my brothers and sisters. I think the easiest thing that happened, and the easiest way they had their ways in Africa and to destabilize Libya, to destabilize the northern part of Africa, is because we did not know the truth. We had no internet. And when they tried to say Muammar Gaddafi was a terrorist, people accepted. Later on, Libyans are learning it the hard way, that they lost a very great leader. He was not perfect. No one is perfect. And you are not perfect who is watching this video. I'm not perfect. But for sure, people like Muammar Gaddafi will have made Africa a single continent, a single country in Africa with one leader, sharing equally the mineral resources in Africa without letting them out. We could be the biggest economy in the world right now. They eliminated him. The poverty and the chaos of Africa is a big business. You should know that. When African countries are fighting, someone is behind that. Africa has never fought for no reason. Look at whatever is happening in DRC Congo. purely funded by the Western countries. Then they will come back, try to be making some peace, right? Sending some peacekeeping missions in Africa, right? And sending some CIA agents in Africa to study what the leaders are saying and to study who is the mole, who is trying to tell the people of Africa the truth. But right now they are falling apart. No one is going to take out Ibrahim Traore. His life is in danger, but we are going to stand with him. The Lord of Africa, God of Africa, God of Black is going to stand with you, Ibrahim Traore. And we're going to share on this platform the good things you are doing and why they're after your life, because you've stood with Africa, you stood whatever is good for the people of Africa. Thank you so much. May you have a really good time. It is so sad right now in Africa.